Here we go.
This report or this claim, and this one comes from Collider. So, the Batman movie came out last year in March of 2022, and there's been a lot of talk about, will there be a sequel? Is it part of the a new type, its own thing? Is it going to be part of the James Gunn universe whenever they announce, or at least get some kind of more connections to everything else? So it was announced before that they are making a Batman 2. Matt Reeves mentioned that he is working on the script and on the movie. So obviously it's gonna happen, unless there's something drastically that happens, then they probably won't. But it did make more than enough money to warrant another movie, and critically it was received well. I really liked the movie. It was my top film of 2022, but then again, I'm also a big Batman fan, but I did really like the movie, and I think a lot of people did like it. But overall, the Batman 2 is coming. So there is a claim here, and this is from Collider, so I'm going to read a little piece here. It says, in a neat piece of symmetry, it looks like the casting of the Dark Knight's next adversary is coming down to the toss of a coin. Okay, a lot of puns in there. Insider John Roca revealed that casting has come down to a final pair of prospective stars to take on the role of Harvey Dent, aka Two-Face, in The Batman Part 2, while chatting on the Hot Mic podcast with Jeff Snyder. It is looking at the duo of Josh Hartnett as one of the potential actors to portray the character here. So I'm looking for an image here. So we have Josh Hartnett. So Josh Hartnett, the first time I ever saw him in anything was on Halloween H2O. So he was Laurie Strode's son. Now this was one type of universe when it comes to Halloween, because you know how there's like different versions of Halloween or continuities, timelines or whatever. So in this one, Laurie Strode has a son and Josh Hartnett is playing him. So that's the first time I saw him. And then I saw him in a bunch of other 90s movies, late 90s movies, like The Faculty. Then later on he did movies like 30 Days of Night, I think it's called, and then Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor was, early 2000s, and Michael Bay, and that movie wasn't received all that well, but yeah. So Josh Hartnett, and then for a long time he was gone for a while. We didn't see anything with him. I haven't seen him in any movies or anything like that. And then all of a sudden, like in the last few years or so, maybe like 2 years, like maybe during the pandemic and on, I've been seeing him in more projects. I know he did this show back in, I don't know exactly when it was, like 2014, 2015. He did a show in Showtime. I forgot the name of the show. But he was in that. But he hasn't been in a lot of projects for a while. So there's this talk that he might, be Harvey Dent. So that's one of them. The other one is Joel Edgerton, as you can see here, possibly playing Harvey Dent, Two-Face. Now, a lot of Star Wars fans know him to be Uncle Owen. He's been in other movies too. He was in, I think it was in The Green Knight that came out a couple years ago. And he was in a movie about UFC with Tom Hardy. So he was in that movie. And he directed a movie, I think it was called The Gift, which I remember watching. And it was alright. It wasn't too bad. It was just a directorial debut, and it starred Jason Bateman. So that's Joel Edgerton, a possible Harvey Dent Two-Face. Now, this report here is not official, but there's just a lot of claims about this, that Harvey Dent will be in this film. Now, a lot of Batman DC fans know that Harvey Dent is an antagonist. Ultimately ends up being an antagonist. But at first he's a little friendly when it comes to, trying to clean up Gotham just like a Batman, but for a different way. As we've all seen in The Dark Knight, Aaron Eckhart played him, and the more cartoony version of it with Tommy Lee Jones playing him in Batman Forever. So that's a different type of character there. That was like almost Joker-ish, which I still like, by the way. But Harvey Dent's a pretty cool character. I'm glad that they're thinking of bringing him in here. So when it comes to these two, though, if it is between these two, Josh Hartnett, Joel Edgerton, I think I would probably pick Joel Edgerton. I just think Joel Edgerton has more of the, as far as the acting chops, I do think he's a little better when it comes to Josh Hartnett, just a little bit more, and the look. So I think he'll be able to play the character more. I think he'll be more menacing than Josh Hartnett. I don't think I've ever seen a role of Josh Hartnett that where he's like very menacing in any movies. At least I haven't seen it. But with him, I've seen characters where he could be, and so that's why I would pick him if it's between those two. But again, this is not something official, but that's just what we have going on there. Okay, so that was just the first segment here regarding that report for the Batman Part 2. So let me know, guys, what are your thoughts on these two actors to portray Harvey Dent's Two-Face? Do you agree with me about that I would pick Joel Edgerton, or would you pick Josh Hartnett? Maybe you do. I don't know. Let me know.